The race at Talladega Superspeedway delivered exactly what fans expect from a superspeedway event: intensity, strategy, and in the blink of an eye, complete chaos. What started as a calculated, strategic race quickly turned into one of the most dramatic and destructive moments in recent NASCAR Cup Series history. By the time the smoke cleared, 26 cars were involved in a massive pileup that reshaped the outcome of the race and sparked a deeper conversation about the nature of modern superspeedway racing. At the center of it all was Bubba Wallace, who found himself leading the pack just moments before everything unraveled. Behind him, drivers were tightly packed in classic Talladega fashion, drafting, pushing, and searching for any advantage. The race had already been building toward a shift in intensity. NASCAR had adjusted the race format, stretching Stage 1 to 98 laps in an effort to reduce fuel-saving tactics and encourage more aggressive racing later on. While the early portion still leaned heavily on strategy, the second stage unleashed a completely different energy. Once drivers went back to full throttle, it took only about 10 laps for the situation to spiral out of control. On lap 115, the turning point arrived. Wallace, leading from the middle lane, received a strong push from behind, something that is normally essential at superspeedways. But this time it went too far. His car snapped loose, slid up the track, made contact with another car, and then shot back down into traffic. Within seconds, the tightly packed field had nowhere to go. Cars collided one after another, smoke filled the air, and the race was brought to a halt. From the outside, it looked simple. The leader lost control, and the big one followed. But the reality inside the cars told a much more complicated story. After the race, Wallace did not try to avoid responsibility. Instead, he offered a measured and honest reflection. He admitted the car felt unstable while being pushed, though still manageable, until that final hit. He acknowledged that both he and the team needed to review what happened and find ways to improve. His tone was not defensive, it was thoughtful. For Wallace, the frustration came not just from the crash itself, but from losing a strong opportunity. His team had speed, they were in position, and in one moment, it was all gone. While Wallace's comments were important, the broader perspective came from other drivers in the garage, and their opinions revealed a deeper issue. Joey Logano did not hide his frustration. He pointed out that once the field transitioned from fuel saving to actual racing, it only took a handful of laps for things to fall apart. His most striking observation was blunt. The current cars simply cannot race closely without wrecking. He described how the shape of the cars and their aerodynamic behavior make them unstable when pushing. In his words, it is like trying to push two basketballs together. They do not stay straight. Ryan Blaney offered perhaps the clearest breakdown of what drivers are dealing with. He explained that there is no longer any air bubble between cars. Drivers are forced to run extremely close, almost making constant contact, while trying to maintain control. According to Blaney, once cars begin to wobble or ping-pong, even slightly, they become nearly impossible to stabilize. Importantly, he emphasized that he did not believe any single driver was to blame. Instead, he described the crash as a product of the current racing environment. Other drivers echoed the same sentiment. William Byron said that once the wreck began, there was little anyone could do to avoid it. Visibility disappeared, reaction time vanished, and drivers became passengers in an uncontrollable situation. Kyle Larson added that the tension had been building even before the crash. From deeper in the field, he could feel how unstable and aggressive the pack had become. When drivers far behind the leaders can sense danger rising, it highlights just how fragile the entire system is. Austin Cindric brought another layer to the discussion. He pointed out that running long green flag stretches at these tracks almost always leads to problems. As the pack grows larger and more disorganized, timing becomes inconsistent, and even small misjudgments can trigger massive consequences. He stressed that many of these incidents are not intentional mistakes. They're simply the result of an unforgiving environment. And then, on the opposite side of the story,